Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if it as we get to the best of 11 final, if Viper eventually makes it there, then we might look back and say, "Oh yeah, he did this before." Viper in the yellow, start of another best of 5 in King of the Desert. Thanks to everyone that's been involved to make this tournament happen. We have Microsoft sponsoring another Age of Empires tournament. Pinstack, a new company, getting involved. Mem doing his thing with the organization. Krazini. So Neely and I, we've been casting for a while. We're both pumped to be casting more and pumped to be seeing the snake here. Who's gonna lane?
Indeed. We'll already get a sheep. And big question to begin with. Do we stick with yellow? I know it is the iconic Viper color, but on this minimap?
I am gonna make the decision to stick with yellow. I think yellow-blue does not clash too much, and it's up to us as casters to show the viewers what's happening on the minimap.
Okay.
That's my decision. But if you are really against it, I like you enough where I'd make the change.
Okay. Then let's keep with that, and colorblind people can come back next series just after this again.
Oh, they'll be here. They'll be here. Viper has already stolen one goat. The power of Mongols with a scouting bonus. And will he steal the Rhino? Kind of a tough position to consider it. So for now, he's scouting out. I want to talk about the civs, Britons versus Mongols, but I don't think we can really do that, Nilly, until we see if Viper gets a steal in here.
For now, he's dancing quite a bit. We'll find goat 2 and 3. And... Or actually, did he get the first one? I'm a bit confused.
I thought he did. I'm pretty sure that thing's back at his TC right now. We could see both players stealing resources. BacT's arriving. Oh, this would be so bad for BacT. Oh, and he somehow realizes ahead of time. Well played. Dodges the TC fire. Yeah, losing out on sheep with Britons is normally not a great thing for you. But I think you can still manage if you've got some resources at home, like the Rhinos with 400 food apiece. Okay, Nilly, now what do you think about how this Civ matchup tends to play out?
Well, obviously Mongols, the civilization, you have the faster hunt, should be up earlier, and the big question is, do we go for men-at-arms? Do we try to play with the scouts? Scouts, the typical thing, especially on the super open map, can just run around, play the mobility card, and then it's relatively easy to go on to the archery range, add some skirms. I think you have to have some skirms in your army composition if you want to face Britons with mass archers into crossbows.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's early Castle Age. As another player weakens the Rhino with their town center and finishes it off with the villagers. Does not make the mistake that both Vivi and Tata made in the previous series. BacT's also looping back home with 2 goats, so a bit of... I don't know about revenge, but he's bringing them back where they belong. I feel like as I look at the maps here, the Mongols could really do well. The golds need to be secured with Britons. If you want to go archers, then that could take some time for BacT. Plus, Viper will have the faster feudal, so...
I personally think Britons might be the civ suffering the most with this map generation. Britons, you have to rely on gold. You need to control this area, and too often do we have those very exposed on hilly areas, and therefore you can't go into this typical Drush FC that you could play on the ladder a month ago. I think Britons and Vikings so far underperforming, and I think that will continue. And the top players, as we saw, are not going for them that much.
Yeah, I had some conversations about the civilizations and played some matches against players a week or 2 before the tournament began. And general consensus was that archer civs are a lot more map dependent. So it's a bit risky to pick an archer civilization because if you don't have the safe gold, you could be in trouble. And that also, something like Night Siege, Night Skirm, dominant once more. And I think that's been the case. Mongols are an interesting one, though, because Scout Skirm is good for them. The mid-game, traditionally, you don't want to be making Knights, but we've been seeing it.
Yeah, and the thing is, most of the time, having the Knight or the Castle Age problem is because both players are walled, you don't have the eco bonus, you don't have magnetized yet, but your opponent can already be so far on the back foot with your strong Dark Age into Feudal Age that Castle Age plays smoother for Mongols on this map.
Yep. Also, I'd say BacT as a player, he's probably a player who'd prefer and excel in wallable situations. But you know what? I like this. Like, Drush against Mongols sometimes can be seen as questionable, but he's made 2, and he could maybe delay Viper, get map control, and still have a reasonable feudal time behind this. But I also like Viper's quick walls. That was well done.
Waltz one villager in, Waltzer out again. Good job there. Interesting choice that BacT did collect gold to go up to 3 militia, but then actually opted to go for 2, click up to feudal age, and now queues the 3rd one in again.
Like, I say that I like the idea of the Drush, but what has he accomplished? A few quick walls from Viper. A Viper does that in his sleep, you know? Like, that's done nothing, and if Viper still has the berries, Viper still got the wood, Viper still have everything under control. So, you know, I saw this yesterday. Like, Viper's wood line is really not efficient. Look at his villagers not working. Nikov had an issue against Doubt, but...
I was pointing it out. You're saying Viper has everything under control, and then 4 villagers blocking at the woodland. I was like, Tristan, everything under control?
Yeah, there you go. Well, he's figured that out, and now with the faster attacking scout, after arriving in feudal age, he could snipe a villager from BacT, who will try and quick wall. Oh, Viper
not committing? What? That felt like a safe kill there. I'm surprised that he didn't go for it. And now loses more HP. Is he losing the scout? 6 HP gets away.
On the bright side, BacT is badly housed. He forgot to build a house while he was on his way up. So no new villagers, no spearmen. Well. Like, that's massive. And oh, Viper also, I guess, getting housed temporarily. Viper's got 2 scouts. BacT quick walls once more.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Oh, but only hit the palisade twice or something. Low HP scout now goes down as well. Sloppy play by the Viper, I would say.
Yeah, and you also have the militia at Viper's base. Maybe he was focused there. It BacT overall. There's still some big problems because there's going to be more scouts coming. But BacT overall's done a decent job. And now he's getting man-at-arms. And now we have a pause. But the man-at-arms might surprise Viper. He might just assume it's 2 militia. And that's it. He probably didn't expect the 3rd and then the man-at-arms upgrade. It is a BacT game, so there's got to be a pause, right? He's probably going for a smoke break or something.
The typical BacT thing for sure.
We don't, guys, we don't have spec chat, but we can tell you what was said. Sec. Sec, and then probably OK14.
Well, that could be on Viper's end as well, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
really
that's
sure.
true. It's true.
He needs to adjust something, and Viper's trying to go for the 2nd wood line now. Knows that the first one won't be too efficient in the long run. And, well, man-at-arms, you said, might catch him off guard. 1 villager relatively exposed there. BacT can still be very annoying here.
He doesn't, yeah, and Viper does not see the militia there. I don't think that he's expecting man-at-arms. BacT's position is pretty decent, and Viper way too wasteful with his scouts. Like, if you're not getting Vil picks, then you need to keep the scout HP high, and he has not been able to do that. And now we're back in business, and Viper will see the militia. He's definitely expecting this to just be 2 militia. Now it's 3, and wow, somehow it's the wall up there, and we'll probably keep that villager alive.
Scout on the wrong side. Viper
Both players
housed
housed
again.
badly.
Oh, God.
Both housed badly.
And you just had a pause. What were you looking at? Like, maybe both were like super fair play. Okay, I'll just turn off my screen so that it's a fair pause for both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I am not a big fan of pausing because it ruins my mental focus and rhythm. So I can relate to that because anytime I'm playing a game and pauses happen, I make mistakes. But to see both get housed like that, I think first game of the day syndrome for both players right now. Very, very messy.
Well, let's see about that. And Man-at-Arms trying to still be annoying. Viper sending all his scouts back. You see BacT so walled, and Man-at-Arms losing some HP makes it easier for the clear up for Viper that surely is coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Viper does have a lot of scouts and it's going to be prepping skirm. So after it's all said and done, I think that composition of scout skirm is still going to be so good against what BacT would make. BacT is actually doing the right thing to run away. And maybe going to send these spearmen forward with the archers now.
Could be annoying. Obviously easily dealt with if you get like 2-3 skirmishers out. Viper will have 2 pretty soon. And kind of an interesting hit squad before fletching. Shouldn't really get too much done either. I think this is the spot where I think you even keep your archers at home and try to build up numbers. I think
Yeah,
they will never
I
achieve
think
anything.
I think most players do that, Nilly, but then it's BacT, and BacT is the king of full walling at home and sneaking archers. So
That's actually Tim.
that's true. If Tim is the king, then BacT is the he's like
The
next in
prince.
line.
The prince. Yeah,
Oh, the prince. Yes.
yeah.
I was like,
The
definitely
prince
not
of
queen.
walling and sneaking archers.
Yes. Like Viper, he's got his scouts roaming around out there. He's really looking for those man-at-arms, but the man-at-arms will group up with the spears, with the archers. Viper's getting fletching on skirmishers he's sending forward, but this is going to surprise the Viper. He never wanted to be coming home now. Uh-oh. Oh my, that was dirty. That was dirty.
But still no fletching for BacT, so those villagers have more HP as well. Running
No,
away.
he has fletching.
Yeah, now kicking in.
Yep.
And try to get some walls up. Massive woodline now for Viper.
Exactly, and Viper can't counterattack, really. Unless there's a hole. If there's a hole, then it could be game over. But BacT is in a great position. Viper has all the military in the world. He just hasn't been able to hit the right spots with it. And there's the tower for BacT.
Tries to go for the other woodline now. Spreads the villagers around. Defensive tower indeed. Doesn't mind that one too much. I think that's a tower that is just helping you out the whole game.
Viper's eco is so bad. It's so messy right now. The wood lines have been messy. Now if BacT keeps his units alive, BacT, you've got to keep your units alive. No. All right, well, that was sloppy. Still gets away and could still kill villagers.
Oh, and those villagers, luckily for the Viper, all of them high HP. Maybe he did micro those. Is trying to take the fight. Archers are falling. And Viper, with fewer losses than what I would have expected, but 2 wills going down. Maybe a third one.
It probably should be 3. There's still man-at-arm in there. No. Well, the spearman probably won't do it. Now BacT knocking on the door, or Viper knocking on BacT's door, rather, and BacT is trying to switch into scouts. I don't know about this one. He's only got 1 scout right now. I'm not sure what that will do.
BacT also way too many villagers on gold, right? He just had 9 villagers on gold with only 1 archer range. Normally like 4 or 5 could be a reasonable option there. And I think BacT, he needs to wall with the 3rd house there. I think Viper could get in between the woodline and the lumber camp. No, the house is coming.
Sees that. And would it be too risky for BacT to just go to Viper's base and not fight this? Or, like, I feel like if he fights this, Viper gets the better trade. So maybe just go to Viper's eco? We'll find out.
I think that's not the greatest fight, indeed. I would have liked the counterattack a bit more, as you said, Tristan. Skirm's now getting dealt with. Archers trading off, though. Oh, Viper has to be so happy with that one.
Yeah, that was an awful fight for BacT. He's fighting uphill with less numbers. I don't understand that one. I feel like it's messy, but you allow the house walls to do work for you, as now Viper tries to run through, and will make it through. Then you head to Viper's base and hope to do something there. Viper, while it wasn't the best game by his standards, and he's just lost a skirmisher to a lion there, will snipe a villager, and will snipe another villager, and will love his position as he's looking towards Castle Age.
And that was a confident dive with those scouts as well. Trust me, if this is the finals against Terra, those scouts are around looking for relics, maybe trying to pick off monks later on, but kind of relying on BacT making the mistake of not quick walling behind this one. And Viper gets rewarded by getting 2 more build kills.
I think also he will be well aware that since BacT just made scouts, that he's going to have a faster Castle Age. There's not a huge concern there. Yeah, messy stuff from BacT, but messy stuff all around here. As Viper finally is going to work on getting some walls up. Looks like he'll have full walls behind this. What do you expect to see from him as Mongols? Maybe knights? Maybe more skirmishers? He's only got 3 right now, Nilly. I mean, he's not on stone.
Him sending the skirms out kind of gives us the answer that he is going for knights, right? But then he goes for the defense upgrade. I'm a bit surprised that he goes for them. Maybe he saw a low HP villager? Because those scouts will just go down, right? He knows about the scouts being on the map.
Also, no second range and no second stable yet. So maybe he's trying to force
That doesn't make
Maybe
sense.
he's trying to force BacT into going 2 stables, and then he's gonna go camo or something. Is he going cav archers here?
With 8 on gold, you need more than that. But yeah, no production. He goes
Yeah, I think
bloodlines.
he
Yeah,
goes
so
CA.
that's the only unit that makes sense. No, but he also goes for stale budding armor. Tristan, what's happening?
Yeah, this is kind of all over the place from Viper. You know, normally a little bit cleaner, a little bit more structure to it. But man, that faster castle age you can do so much with. He could go 3 TCs
Ah, okay.
and go mega boom with a few cav archers and camels maybe.
Okay, world makes sense again. He did cancel scale budding armor, so it's just CA.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And
Cav archers
it
and
made
then
sense
TCs.
till scale budding armor.
Yeah. He canceled scale barding. We'll get Bodkin now. We'll get Bosal. Yep, and he's going for TCs. I think along the same lines of what you brought up earlier, if Viper's playing against an opponent who's considered top 5, he never plays this passive in early castle. But because of his confidence against a player like BacT, he's going for the 3 TCs with just a few cav archers.
Yeah, I think against most other players, the CA is probably a bit on the risky side. Probably you go for all the skirmishers. He did throw them away even at the front. And now we'll have a lot of mobility. The question is, he needs more than that, right?
Yeah.
Is he going for Mangonel?
He's giving BacT the real opportunity here because BacT will have 8 range Britain crossbows. Viper will gain the Vil lead, but mass crossbow Mangonel could kill Viper, and Viper is now adding a siege workshop at home, expecting to need something. But also BacT needs to pressure Viper and pressure Viper soon because Viper will gain the eco lead. So Viper doing his best right now with a low number of units to distract BacT, keep him at home, frustrate him.
How does BacT have 14 on gold and not enough gold to click ballistics instantly?
I don't know. That's it. Maybe need a second mining camp there, buddy.
No.
that one's pretty bad. We've been seeing a lot of 2 mining camp plays in this tournament. And here comes BacT. Viper will have a Mangonel at home. I think he's looking for this army. He did not realize it's past his scouting from the cav archers, and BacT could run right into the back to Viper's base here. He's protected the front with TCs, not the back part of his eco.
I think he can run with those villagers at the woodline though. Indeed, that's what he's doing. The question now is, how well will BacT micro this one? I'm personally hating a Mangonel counter against crossbows because you're simply outranged.
Yeah, but Viper will probably be aware that he needs to keep the Mangonel close to repair villagers. And there's your answer, backed with a nice split. Has sniped 1 villager. He will snipe the second. And Viper also losing cav archers on the front. It's a risky play for Viper to go for 3 TCs and cav archers, while most people right now think that cav archers, even with Mongols, are pretty underwhelming.
Okay,
Like, these things are supposed to fire faster with Mongols, and it still seems so slow.
Yeah, well, I think the reload time is shorter, right? The initial shot delay is still the same.
Yeah. Yeah,
that makes it so weird.
And that cav archer going down. Another cav archer could go down for Viper as he runs away. BacT, I think, maybe needs to be a bit quicker to that second TC. Still, oh no, he's on 2. I lied. Okay, and maybe could go for 3.
Viper's
and also
at
has
4.
crossbows on the front. Viper is really giving BacT a shot, playing so passively.
Yeah, now adds a Scorpion as well, or second Scorpion. Let's take a look. That could be a good shot. But BacT, very aware of the situation. Would love to see some more eco upgrades from him, though.
Yeah, BacT probably focused a lot on the front, so expect him to make some small mistakes at home as he micros here. He'll take out the Scorpion, no problem. And there's villagers, and Viper's on 4 TCs. Like, BacT is still... He was, what, 17th seed? He's still one of the best talents in the world. You've got to show him a little bit more respect here, Viper. BacT takes the Vil lead and the military lead. He's all over the Snake.
Over 20 are the villagers now for the Viper, and that is indeed a very ballsy play. Obviously, if we get to that late imp scenario, Mongols just wreck Britons. If you get to even maybe Mangudai, Hasa, Ram, you could dream of Onager, something like that, then Britons have no chance, but it looks like BacT will have a huge advantage before that.
Oh, and the micro so good from him as well. He'll take out the Mangonels. Let's see. nice splits, and the Scorpion will go down on top of that. There's more crossbows coming in. Viper will snag kills there, but he still can't take that golds. He will place a castle, though. I just don't know where he's going to prefer to place it.
Just in front of his outside TC there, makes a lot of sense. Allows himself to not get raided in that angle, but more villager losses, and BacT is doing a good job of punishing Viper's greed.
Yeah, this is why you and I were so confused. What's the plan for Viper? He went for the TCs even on 4 now. Definitely does not have the food eco to keep them all rolling. But he will have Mangadai. Don't know if Mangadai do much right now, but...
Not in those numbers. 9 CA aren't doing anything. Adding 2 Mangodais won't change that story. And it simply is 4 TCs against 2 TCs, but the player with 2 TCs is 10 builds ahead.
Yep. King of the Desert, we've talked about it. You've got to take map control before booming. If you don't, most players will punish you. BacT is no exception. Can the Viper pull out the comeback now? He's obviously dug himself this hole in a rough position because of the greed, Nilly. What is Viper's win condition? Like, how does he turn this around?
He just needs to delay the game, right? And clearing that army in the backup is the first good step. I don't see BacT pushing too well, right? You now get the defensive castle up. Mangodais are great with dealing with any mangonel pushes. So BacT needs a long-term plan that puts him in a nice spot early Imperial Age. Maybe play only with 2 TC. Keep your crossbow numbers alive. Get a forward castle and some traps.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. I think he should continue to head into Viper's eco, because Viper is not able to hit back due to that. Viper does have a Maganel on the way out of that Siege Workshop. And BacT, he'll know there's Scorpions, he'll know there's Cav Archers in there, so maybe he's worried about running in. But also, it's a little bit worrying that he's staying next to a Siege Workshop. Viper could get a massive uphill shot here. We might see a delete.
Oh, it hits massively indeed, without the deletion even.
Yeah, big hits, but also good micro from BacT. Could have been way worse. In the end, takes out the Scorpions. Will take out the Cav Archers. And while the units are weak, he's going to have another group running in.
Weak.
He's going to have another army running over to the other side. And Nilly, I think you called the strat. BacT says, screw the extra TCs. I'm going to delay them. I'm going to save my food, and I'm going to drop a castle right here next to Viper's Gold, Viper's Woodline, and Viper's Castle, and think about going in.
No, I didn't call the strat. What I called was keep your crossbow numbers alive.
That's a good point. This is one way Viper could come back now is denying this castle. It doesn't have enough Mangadai, though. He sees villagers coming forward. Viper also has to keep his Mangadai numbers up, right?
I think skirms might even be more important than Mangodais. At the moment, just Mangodais are running around, but he can never take any fights. I think the next step is for Viper either to get Imp and try to trap ward, which it looks if we look at his resources, and then I think Rams will be the key unit in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Britons struggle heavily against the Rams. I think you're right. He's expecting BacT to force the fight with some Trebs on the hill. Viper will try and go up to Imp. But what's so weird about this is, like, I would consider BacT's position the position of someone who's going for the low eco Imp, you know, because he was so late to TCs. Viper has 64 vills, BacT has 87. Like,
yeah.
I just had to do a double take. Like, wait a second, what? How is the vill difference that huge?
Oh, there were some villages going down, surely.
Yeah, maybe one too many town centers, not enough farms for Viper. I mean, he's recovered nicely. And it's Viper, so you'd expect him to have the potential to come back, but he's definitely behind right now.
And BacT, he knows, okay, this is the time where I need the follow-up, and he is going 4 TCs as well. Has a solid Vigil lead, but most of his eco will be protected. Just the question is, do we stay full crossbow into Arbalest, or do we mix something in there? And, oh, I see some knights in the queue.
Knights in the queue for who here? For BacT?
For BacT. I'm as surprised as you. He cancelled them again.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, yeah, I think you stay with ranged units for now. At least that'd be my call. Because Viper will need a castle in his base. He's dropping off res. He has no defense for these crossbows right now, and it's about to get a whole lot worse. By the way, Viper just now getting elite skirm. very late to that upgrade.
Hill advantage will be lovely for BacT there as well in the trap war. Viper can build a second castle pretty soon, but look at that. More villagers dying here. Over 25 villagers now behind. Make it 30.
Yeah, the Viper also trying to get a counterattack in with skirmishers. The crossbows can even take out those skirms now because of the extra range and the upgrades. It's amazing the confidence that some people have in Viper right now. Words like, BacT is 100% going to lose. Mark my words. There's no way Viper loses this. People have faith in the Viper. But can you do anything as Mongols if you don't have Mangadai in this matchup? And the Trebs are coming. The Rams are here. Viper is 30 vills behind. I just don't see how Viper ever wins this game.
Yeah, my money is heavily on BacT here as well. He has everything going for him. He controls 2 gold spots. He has the hill, will trap the castle. It is simply like Mongols need to pull some crazy cards here. The only winning condition here for Mongols is to get to like 140 villagers, mass ram, mass who's Hussar, and make it a wild game.
Yeah.
But Viper is 40 builds away from that. No, 60 builds away from this.
By the way, Viper researched, or he clicked Bracer in the forward blacksmith, which was getting rammed down. So he believes he has Bracer right now as he's making skirms. He does not have Bracer. So no Imperial Age upgrades whatsoever on these skirmishers as he's about to lose that castle. So if he doesn't realize that, I think he just built another blacksmith, and there it is. I mean, in general, he's just so far behind at the moment. There's no other way to put it.
Adds more archer ranges, so he plays full skirmishers against that. But how is he dealing with this castle there? Needs to get onto trap numbers himself. He's doing an okayish job of preventing all the raids, but now the Arbalest at the bottom and Viper is tapping this one out.
Yeah. Yeah, BacT wins the game, and Nilly, we said it before game 1 even started. Does Viper have a lot of respect for BacT's skill level? He drafted Tatars and Portuguese as his first 2 Civ picks, so he hasn't used them yet, but he has that available and not some stronger civilizations we've seen. And then he went for a very passive opening in Castle Age. Top 20 players should punish how Viper played that. Viper, I expected more from him in game 1, but I also know that he's not going to be quite as passive in the next game.
And the bad thing is, he has some, let's call them meme civs. And if we thought, okay, he's losing with the meme civs, then he can still fall back on the strong civs. But now he's losing with one of the arguably stronger civilizations on this map. It will get tricky from here.
Yeah, it very well could. We'll look at the Civ draft in a moment, but we broke it all down. Just Viper with the faster Castle Age and didn't do a lot with it. Cav Archers seemed to be mad. The booming was punished by BacT. I do not envy a player in BacT's position, because even he will know, okay, Viper didn't play that as he would play a tournament final. And so it's probably really hard to have self-belief when Portuguese and Tatars are picked, and then that's how game 1 is played. But he is 2 wins away from winning the best of 5 against Viper.
Or that even fuels you, right? Wow, I just won against his solid pick.
It might fuel you, exactly. Yeah.
I think this is very risky what Viper is doing. If there's still the chance that he thought this was the best strategy, right? But I think you need to have something designed around skirmishers there in Castle Age.
Yeah, I think open 1 TC, go skirms, maybe ballistics on that, then you can add the economy later. But yeah, Viper picked Mongols. Just a refresher on the Civ draft for everyone watching. And hello, Nearly highs in chat. Let's see, BacT is Heo over here. BacT just used the Britons, which was his final pick. Franks, Khmer, Lithuanians, Vikings, Mayans, and then Viper's got Tatars, Portuguese, Chinese, Malians, and Byzantines. So you think Viper falls back on Portuguese or Tatars, or do you think he goes for a strong pick like Chinese, Malians, or Byzantines?
If I was his coach, I would slap him left, slap him right, and tell him to now pick Chinese and Malians.
Oh man, the crazy thing is that Viper is so rarely punished in these scenarios.
Because I'm not his coach.
Oh yeah, that's why, definitely. That I didn't mean punished in that way. Okay. Ooh, man, I'm sorry. I had a Steam error there as I reopened my game. But what I mean by that is very few times do players beat Viper when Viper memes in game number 1 or maybe doesn't go for as strong a pick. So
Well, we have the answer here. Just waiting for you to jump in there as well.
yeah. I've been restarting my game and having some issues with it, but we'll be in, and it's probably not going to start for another 60 seconds anyways.
Go over to Nilly_AOE if you want to see the live game.
Hey, Nilly, you got some weird noises coming from your microphone.
What? Okay, maybe I can fix that.
Yeah, it's fine. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Hey, follow-up question. Do you see the civilizations for the next game?
I'm in the game.
What is it? I'll be there in like 15 seconds. Tell us.
Okay, it is Portuguese for the Viper, and BacT
What?
is going for Vikings. So indeed, Viper is going for his second pick. Portuguese, he's a big fan of those. I'm a big fan of those as well, but we have to agree they are not in the top 14 of all civs.
All right. So is Portuguese they're definitely not in the top 14 of all civs. I agree with you on that. But would you say that Portuguese are in the top 14 of civs that could go 1 TC aggression? Because with the gold discount, they could go Knight Crossbow a lot easier than other civilizations could.
Mm-hmm.
They could go Knight Siege a lot easier than other civilizations could. So in terms of aggression, I feel like Portuguese are up there, at least with what they can afford.
Yeah. Monk Siege is also an option. That is everything that's heavily on gold. Just works out so much better with them. Also, the first, like, militia, you get them a bit cheaper, right? So it is pretty smooth, especially now with the last discount. It was 15% before, I believe. Now it is 20%.
It's 20 now. I think it went from, I could be wrong, but I think it went from 10% to 15 to then 20. So until people think Portuguese are top tier, that might continue to change. But BacT is at Viper's base. I'm all caught up now. We know the power of Vikings. We talked about over the last year about how good Vikings can be with their economy, free wheelbarrow, free handcart. But also...
let's see about the next patch. That's still the case, right?
Yeah. But also, Nilly, that's only on closed maps, and this is a very open map with forward gold. So Viper could certainly punish Vikings before that eco kicks in.
Yeah, that's like I just mentioned. Like, Britons is a civilization that suffers a lot, and Vikings probably on the same. Maybe you quickly explain what's going on with Vikings and wheelbarrow.
Well, right now, BacT could lose a Vil. BacT is going to try and show Viper how it feels to be quick-walled. No.
That's how it feels.
Dead.
Okay.
Yeah,
then I'd like to be quick-walled.
That's how it feels. And also, Viper scouts on pretty decent HP, too. All right, well, I mean, that's one way to punish Viking Eco, is kill a villager in Dark Age. You asked me a question, right?
Yeah.
I think you asked me about Viking Eco.
No, okay, I will just answer my own question. So something that was recently found out, that probably since the E came out, there was a bug that wheelbarrow and handcart is actually not working for villagers that are already farming.
Yep.
And therefore you needed to either build a new farm or ring town bell to make them work more efficiently. And that's why Vikings was so much better in comparison to other civilizations, because you never had that timing against you.
And while BacT snipes Viper scouts, so Viper loses the scout. However, it's still a very weak scout for BacT. Yeah, that was something that was pointed out recently. And I also think that was, I don't think that's a DE bug, Nilly. From what I understand, that bug has always been thing, and people just recently picked up on that. So yeah, Town Bell is meta now, and Viper is drushing with 3 militia and also getting loom. He didn't have to collect any additional gold to get loom and make the 3 militia.
Just think about Tristan. Like, every single time now you finish wheelbarrow, you quickly ring the town bell, and the meta now becomes to just ring town bell at weird timings to confuse your opponent that you already have wheelbarrow.
I just, as someone who occasionally will cast some low elo games, it pisses me off because anytime it happens now, someone's going to be like, well, it helps you. It's like when Viper does something that's clearly a meme, and then I say, no, don't do this. You guys don't want to do this. And everyone's like, yeah, but I saw Viper do it once.
Oh, yeah.
Ah. Well, good awareness from BacT, because he did not scout that barracks. And he seems to realize now what Viper's up to. And BacT is up to feudal age, or he's on his way.
The beautiful thing with the minus 20% is that you can build those 3 militia without going on to gold. Therefore, your Drush a bit on the easier side. And you see BacT a bit sloppy with his micro there at the middle. Look at that, 1 villager running around, 2 idle, but Viper shortly housed again.
Viper has not scouted a single one of BacT's golds, and BacT's golds are awful on this map.
Ooh.
The main gold's forward, Viper hasn't scouted that. The gold on the left, gold on the right, Viper has not seen a single one. Not that that would be his target area right now. Oh, but yeah, this is going to be huge. Viper could kill villagers here.
That's with the hill advantage.
I'm surprised BacT is not quick-walled that. Oh, man. Oh, both villagers are blocked.
Oh, some dance there, and it seems like Viper might even commit. Is he just going for those kills? And then he's suddenly 3 villages ahead. Goodbye, Vikings advantage. Scout low HP. Maybe Viper commits against that one.
I'm with you, Nilly. You mentioned some of the quick walling from BacT. Maybe it was just too much for him to do, but he knew the militia were around. He had the wood line protected on the left. He had the berries and gold protected. He just assumed that Viper wouldn't go to that wood line. That's exactly where Viper went. Big lead for Viper now.
Yeah, I like his spot as well. And the strategy that did carry Viper basically throughout whole King of the Desert 2 was simply Drush into Flush.
Yep.
Not a strategy
Drush
that a lot of
past
people are playing. Leary is a guy that likes it, but maybe Viper going back to his roots now.
Yeah, maybe. And Portuguese are a great civilization for that. You get the map control with the Drush, you never have to mine gold, and then if you're going into archers, which is what Drush Flush means, it's cheaper there too. So the Viking advantage is still there. Like, Wheelbarrow's still helping, but now BacT is 3 villagers behind, which is, I don't think we need to say just how bad that is. There's the range for Viper, and he is, for the most part, secure for now. Looking good.
BacT sees the archer range, and his reaction is to instantly pull villagers away from gold. He knows, okay, this is likely being a war with ranged units against each other.
Yeah.
And thinks, okay, skirms should be the better choice. Over
and also walling
archers.
up. This is a good move, too, because you wouldn't pull off of gold that early if that scout was still around. And now he sees Viper's gold. I wouldn't expect Viper to make any mistakes here, but you never know. Viper reacts nicely. And Viper still has some walling to do elsewhere, but ranged units will be out for Viper.
Okay, let's take a look. And you see how far ahead Viper's already walling in those spots. He sees, okay, next up there's berries, I wall them. Next up is the woodline, I wall them. And now he sees the men-at-arms going into the other side, so he doesn't need to wall at the top. But, oh, first skirm. Very early here for BacT. That one alone could be relatively annoying.
Yeah, this is pretty good move, actually. Send the skirm forward right away. Also, for those that were wondering, he cleared up a Viper's militia. Very common for BacT to just wall. It's common for a lot of players, but BacT is known for getting the full walls up early, and Viper's going to have a little bit of work here. Does have fletching, and BacT does not, but that skirmisher can hold his own against 2 archers for the time being.
What's the next building for the Viper? Would you like to see an archer range, or is it the stable against potentially mass skirm from BacT?
Well, you called this one, Nilly. It's the stable. Are you surprised it's this early? He does have 13 on food, I guess.
I think it just feels
time.
relatively natural, because he saw the early skirmisher as well, did scout the archer range, didn't see a lot of villagers on gold, and it also is not that easy to get more villagers to his main gold, right? He needs to open the walls with the men-at-arms around, so it just makes his life easier as well. Stay with 3 on gold, add some scouts.
Sure. At double BitX just now coming in, BacT chose man-at-arms over double BitX. I was going to ask you at that time if maybe skipping the man-at-arms upgrade would have made sense to get eco upgrades. Easy to say now, but the man-at-arms have not contributed all that much.
Yeah. From what I feel, man-at-arm upgrade after minute 12 isn't really a thing.
Oh, wow. He actually, you know, if he didn't have man-at-arms, he wouldn't be pressuring Viper, and Viper's lost 2 archers here and has just fled his gold, so I think Viper's got to wait for a few more scouts here. Good move from BacT, as he will take out more archers.
Misclick by Viper. I think he misgrouped something there. Normally you want to have the skirms in the front and archers running back.
Yeah. And now BacT will also know that the scouts will be out, so he can wall his base and start to add archers, which would be the natural follow-up. Adding spearmen, not so much. And that's a good fight for BacT as well to weaken that scout. In this army, I think it's inevitably going to go down for BacT. It's just how much value he gets.
But it just shouldn't really die. Oh, the scout, the herd one, is now focused down. Viper sends more villagers onto gold. Maybe this is a spot for the second archer range and go full crossbow.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, I expected this to go a lot worse for BacT after the villager losses. And as long as he gets his walls down at home, especially gets walls in front of his gold here, I think he'll be in a nice position. He will not have a lot of map control. It's still going to be Viper on scouts, with skirms, with archers. But much like in the previous game, I think that BacT might have to fall back to a defensive tower and then look towards Castle Age. It'll be on Viper to maintain that control.
And he kind of accepts that he might be forced into the defensive tower. He already is using the gate in the front, and it's a stone gate. So C is okay. 3TC boom, not the likeliest thing. And now you see the difference of the Viper, right? He knows, okay, my scouts most likely won't do anything, and he uses them for scouting. On contrary to game number 1, where he dove in.
Game number 1, where he dove in. Yeah, exactly. Well, he had an opportunity to dive in as well. I think there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Viper, he might actually be looking for a hole on the left side. Maybe he'll attack there. But yeah, Viper will probably scout with those. Make only archers for now. And every tower that Viper can force, the better for him. He's got 12 military versus 5. So I think the Castle Age times will end up being relatively close. If BacT has to build a tower on a wood line, then that's a tower that he cannot build on that gold. So I think BacT really needs to make sure that the tower is saved for the gold, if anywhere.
I'm seeing a scary, scary hill in front of BacT's archery ranges there.
Yeah, I know.
If Viper gets a better Castle Age timing and gets a push from there, that's ugly.
Yeah, and then look at Viper's base, all of his golds. There's also a hill there, I guess, but since Viper has control, that's not an issue. And he's going to have a big arena for himself with all 3 golds behind his walls. We like to meme and be like Viper map hacks, but truthfully, if Viper wasn't ahead right now, we'd be talking about how bad those gold spots were. This is why you take control, and this is typical BacT, man. Look at these archers. Defending with walls, and he's sending archers out on a counter. So typical of him. We'll see if Viper's in a rush to get those houses down, and see if BacT even thinks there's a hole down there.
Third archer range by the Viper even. Oh, that's something I didn't see, especially in 1v1s for quite some time. Actually, we did have it today, right? But that's at least something I didn't expect. Still only 8 on gold, so shouldn't really be able to afford 3 archer ranges, even with Portuguese.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, this is what I meant about Portuguese. With that 20% discount, it's pretty insane how many archers you're able to make. You can contribute with some knights, with some siege, so much easier than other civs. Yes, Vikings do have that lovely discount. Or not discount, rather, but they have the free wheelbarrow, and they're about to benefit from free handcart. And that's something BacT will have to be scared of, but beautiful market wall from BacT. It's like that was perfectly calculated.
14 HP left there. Now it's not looking too nice though. Only has 100 wood in the bank. Another market, not really an option. Does he want to build houses there in the second layer? Oh, that's not great. Where's his army?
Well, I think he wants to loop around, expecting to have a faster castle time and clear out Viper's archers. But
that will be problematic.
Interesting.
No,
Oh, Viper's lost 2 archers though. Make that 3. Make that 4.
Horrible fed for Viper there, but honestly, I think he might just win. What? Why did... I thought he could break that wall with his army.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 archers down for Viper, and he's not going to make it through.
Okay.
BacT has so many exposed wood lines and golds at the moment. He's still got to deal with this, but now he's got more military, and he's heading towards Viper's base, where Viper's prepping house walls. So Viper's really terrified about all this. But this will be a base... This is going to be a really awkward base trade in a moment, as now BacT is making more house walls. If there is a hole, players will be punished.
And there is one. Oh, the scouts are in. That's horrible. Oh, BacT will lose so much.
Oh man, it was so risky. Like, why did BacT run forward? He could have cleared this. Like, even just the threat of addressing this would have forced Viper to run away. And now, like, say goodbye to villagers. And Viper still has enough military at home, I think, with reasonable micro, which he'll have to defend, and also fast ballistics for Viper.
He can just chill at home, right?
Yeah.
There's so many crossbows there as well. Just, well, BacT can't really jump. So many villagers dying there. And that's just so problematic. Like, walling on that hill, you just have holds so often.
Huge lead for Viper now. Ballistics will be in. He'll have full map control, very much unlike the previous game in just a moment. In fact, this might be the GG call shortly. If the army gets cleared up on the front, looks like it is, and the army gets cleared up within backspace. And I mean BacT losing his army, of course. Just don't see him having the military right now.
Neither player with the defense upgrade, although we fight crossbow, we crossbow quite a bit, so a bit of a surprise there. Viper's production obviously will be better. So many idols for BacT and zero map control.
Yeah, and the second he loses that hill, hey, what do? I'm surprised Viper hasn't pushed forward yet, but it looks like he's doing it. And second TC for Viper. So you notice the change in approach here, Nilly? Game 1, Viper goes, I'm not going to take any map control. I'm going to give the opposition map control, and I'm going to boom 4 TCs. And then in game 2, Viper plays it pretty much how you should. Take map control, then boom, and BacT is on the back foot. So big shift in approach for Viper, and I think helped by Portuguese slightly.
Yeah, it's also how these civilizations work, right? Vikings could be punished there in Castle Age. Portuguese just really nice there to take the fight, and Mongols, well, as we mentioned earlier, they would have struggled with all that crossbow production in Castle Age.
Good point. Maybe the greed's a little bit more common in that situation, as the archers have arrived to that nasty woodline and gold on the front. BacT has to garrison. It's like when he protects one area, he's got another one to worry about. Fortunately for BacT, it seems like he'll be able to get the ballistics upgrade, just barely. I just don't know if he'll be able to also get Siege or a Mangonel out of the Siege Workshop. He's got to decide between the two right now.
Opts for ballistic for now, but oh, look at that, 17 other villagers. Now at 5, Viper with the better numbers just keeps on producing.
Viper also switching sides too. Like, he knows I've already got the lead here. But let's move to the left. All right, he's not on that gold. Let's move to the right. All right, he's not on that gold. So Viper sees all 3 golds. And every single time he sees an opportunity to snipe vills, he forces BacT away from the gold. Good stuff from BacT to still be alive in this game. Like, it's going to be tough for him from here, but he is still in this, just barely.
How alive is he, though? Like, no gold income.
He's treading water before he drowns, I think. But
half the military. Always trying to chase the armies down.
And he's got to choose 3 different spots. So you maybe take a fight on the left, which he's doing. And then a fight in the middle. Viper?
Okay.
Okay, Viper notices. BacT's a bit preemptive with the ungarrison. Tosses away some crossbows.
But Viper just enters through the other hole between the 2 houses again. And once he gets into the woodline at the back, the game is over.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And I mean, make a decision BacT which way you're going to go. Another decent Mangonel shot. Viper looping around, and BacT has yet to flee the scene. Viper microing, and microing decently well, but that's not what's important, Nilly. It's the back area for BacT.
Oh, yeah. And there's nothing going there. Is praying for maybe the Mangonel shot there, but it's so many idols again, and Viper just sending another group in at the front. Did he add more archer ranges, or is he just cruising out of 3? Just out of 3.
Yeah, just out of 3, and we'll now have 4 TCs behind. Now, this is the time to go 4 TCs. So you can go 4 TCs in this situation. You have that control. I don't even know where BacT's going at the moment. I think he wants to place a random TC with those villagers. BacT isn't the type of player to call it early. We'll say that. So
he's showing it this game. Like, what is he hoping for? Like, he sees he has less army. He knows he can't be ahead in economy either.
Yeah.
It is weird.
Well, he was going for a counter. As he does that, he's going to lose his army. And Viper's still in his base. I think he calls it here.
Yeah, could make
it's
a lot
back.
of sense.
But I think after the counterattack was snuffed out, I think he considers calling it here. Or if not, then now, if Viper takes out the Mangonel.
Now, maybe you're hoping for the crazy shots, right? $50K tournament, so it makes a lot of sense to give it your best in every single game. But well, I think just going into game 3 makes a lot of sense here as well.
You're up against Viper. You're up 1-0. Imagine what the storyline would be if you somehow come back from this. 1,000 score lead for Viper normally means things are pretty bad, but I think I prefer players continue to play on in big tournaments than to call it early, because you want that 1% chance to be pursued. Viper's probably thinking, where is he chopping wood? And now he's going to find, he's like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. I've been on every wood line. I don't see any villagers there.
Yeah, and look at that. Not even attacking. Goes directly there, hacks the wood line, and only then attacks.
Yeah, BacT at 59 population. Still, he's like, we got this. No, he calls it GG. Expected after a while. What did Viper change going into game 2 based on game 1, Nilly?
He built army in Castle Age. That was the main difference, right? Some CA didn't really do too much, and Viper just played a pretty similar game. And obviously, the Drush did so much, right? Scout killed a villager before, the Drush killed 2 villagers, and then it's basically 2 equal economies going against each other, but all your units that you build are cheaper.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think it's just take map control. As you said, that means military. BacT a bit sloppy in the early game. Both players were sloppy in the early game at game 1, but Viper got a big lead against Vikings, and he kept it. Pretty clear-cut game, and you can see right there on the timeline just how much control and how much military Viper had at the important stages of the game. So Viper loses game 1 as Mongols. He wins game 2 as Portuguese. Portuguese better than Mongols confirmed?
Well, it also comes down to the matchup, and well, in Viper's mind, maybe, yeah.
I mean, I'm not so sure, but Portuguese were played very well there. I'll just say that. And we'll now move on to game 3, which should be starting shortly. I'll restart my game here. Any expectations on Viper's Civ next? Because he does have Tatars as his first pick he hasn't used yet. And then Chinese, Malians, Byzantines.
I think not Chinese. If he had enough balls to pick Portuguese, I think Chinese is the strongest Civ, and he will feel confident every single time. I think Chinese are his number 5 pick.
If it gets to game 5, save Chinese, yeah, that would maybe make some sense.
Or like
here.
If he's down 2-1, I think then he goes for Chinese, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Byzantines are a pretty tricky civilization against all the civs that BacT has remaining. I don't love Byzantines against Khmer still, or maybe even Lithuanians, but Byzantines against Franks can be really good. Byzantines against Mayans could even be really good. So Byzantines historically have been a civ that people in Twitch chat love and are upset that they're not seeing more of. But most importantly, players don't want to pick themselves, but they also don't want to play against it. It's really weird. I remember a tournament, might have even been the first King of the Desert, where Byzantines were globally banned all the time. So Viper has actually picked it.
Byzantines considered to be a civilization that is never bad. It doesn't have a single matchup where you feel like, okay, I have no chance. Even on different maps, right? They are versatile on wallable maps, like they're fine on Arena, on Arabia, on water. They're kind of the medium civilization. Obviously, some better matchups. You could say, okay, maybe with Eagles it's not that easy, but then you have now the easier cataphract transition.
Yep.
And I go ahead.
I love Byzantines. And Nilly, one of my favorite Byzantine pro matches was actually a game where you played, I think. I could be mistaken, but I think it was Byzantines versus Incas. You remember
and I was
that?
Incas. I can't believe, 97.1% can't believe how much map control this pro player had.
Oh, wait, okay, that wasn't the title. No, I'm thinking of a different game. Yeah, the best game that I've ever seen or uploaded with you was when you were Incas, and it's like how to play Incas or whatever. So
I think it was map control something, but okay.
Yeah, it was like amazing map control from some player who has the potential to be number one, but instead he's putting his time and effort into casting. I think that's what I had said.
That's
at
the
the time.
title, indeed. I remember.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but what was the Byzantine game then?
I actually there's been so many, I forget. But I think it was Byzantines against like Mayans or Byzantines against Incas, which is really interesting because you might think a Mesociv has good counters to the skirms and the halbs and whatnot, which is true, but then Byzantines always have cataphracts. But yeah, no Mesocivs here. Back as Lithuanians, a civ we've seen a ton of. And Viper is Byzantines. How do you think that Lithuanians fare against Byzantines?
Well, we won't have a standard game, Tristan. Just look at the opening of BacT here. 3 on wood instantly. And not a single house. He only built 1 house as well. So this is madness.
Lithuanian, starting with plus 150 food, can go for the fastest possible drush in the game. So I'm looking around now, and I'm just wondering, are there resources to hit where Viper might be surprised? If he goes for the woodline forward, maybe the militia could come, could do damage there. I'm excited, but it's also really YOLO. Like, your eco for the rest of Dark Age and Feudal Age is going to be not crippled, but much worse because you don't have a lumber camp. Your mill is going to be delayed.
Okay.
BacT also doesn't know where Viper is yet.
2 things. If you want to see the strategy work, and we just talked about YouTube videos, there's a 3-minute game on Viper's YouTube where he wins against me with this strategy. And also, this strategy is actually very easy to scout. And you don't even need a scout for it. Just look at the score.
Oh, it's a good point. You see the score that early. You might think that that's good scouting from BacT, but how on earth does BacT scout more than Viper's done right now?
And also 14% points more.
Palisade walls. If he sees the scores higher because of military, will he prep palisade walls?
He should. He should. Look at the score. He might have seen the militia.
Oh, how are they? He sees it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the downside of this strategy is if it's scouted, you've just delayed your lumber camp, you've just delayed your mill, you've delayed so much to get the militia out. So now we're seeing the downside of the strategy. If you want to see the upside of the strategy, you know where to look, like Nilly said. Hey, you brought it up, man.
Yeah.
Viper doesn't have loom. Tell me he's going to wall that.
He should, right. 17, 15 HP, 14.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Oh!
Get out of here. That was intentional. That was don't even, because he sent the villager after the palisade and then went back. So he was paying attention to it. He just wanted BacT to believe for a second. That was...
and that's like,
that was hard.
He already had a smile on his face, and that's like, now I do something for the casters.
Yep. Yeah, because we noticed that. We're like, there's no way Viper makes a mistake there. Oh, man. I don't know what BacT is like when he's playing in tournament games, but I could just hear BacT saying, oh, no. Like, getting so frustrated it didn't work. And so Viper maybe could get a faster feudal age than Lithuanians. What do you think Viper's game plan will be as far as the feudal opening goes?
I think against this archers is what I like. Just like pop 20 archers if you can. Maybe Viper even goes for the lame. Oh, that would be so good for him. Because Lithuanian, their eco is already really fragile. Oh, he tries to hide behind the wood line. But I tell you what, villagers can actually see over trees.
Okay, so Viper wants to block. There's the house trick from BacT. Very well played from BacT. So you can de-aggro the elephant or boar. If you place a house immediately over it and tap it once, it de-aggros, confuses that animal. And overall is well done from BacT there. You've got to think about the fact that Viper has had to build palisade walls. It's a lot of work for Viper. He makes it look very easy. He still has to go back out to his elephant, actually, on the left side. BacT could stop that from happening.
That's weird. Viper dropping 2 farms before that. Was Viper that
scared? FC? He's got loom already. He's villagers queued up. He's now making a gate here. I don't understand why.
The gate is to block off the militia. He knows about the militia because the zebra moved.
Sure, but there's still a gap. So that's...
No, the gate was fine. It was just that the militia aren't blocking the elephant.
Viper's going fast castle here. Right? No? Maybe? No, he can't. Loom early, 4 villagers queued. He'll probably unqueue some vills. I don't know. 3 farms in Dark Age. You can't say that the strategy from BacT hasn't delayed Viper. It certainly has in some ways.
Did Viper maybe overlook his elephant?
Maybe he didn't realize it was there until it was too late. Good point. I mean, there goes BacT on the way to feudal age. 10-15 feudal uptime. And there goes Viper. So Viper will be on his way to feudal. Overall, we had a lot to talk about in Dark Age, but 0 kills, 0 deaths. And I think 0 lames as well.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. Quite surprising, right? And Militia now losing some HP. Villager can easily fight this one, though.
Yeah.
Or can he?
I mean, it should. Did Viper want to wall it in there? Is he getting too fancy?
Didn't really prepare any walls there. She is close to the TC. Shouldn't be any losses.
Yeah,
Oh.
good walls, but idle time. Like, you're not... This isn't set out to kill anything at this point. BacT's just hoping to delay Viper, so he's accomplished that. I don't know. I feel like if Viper was in BacT's position right now, we'd be like, this has been really good with forcing a lot of idle time for BacT, but because it's BacT against Viper, I just have this expectation of Viper's going to be fine, you know?
Yeah, I know that sometimes we see a greater plan in some situations where he actually is put really on the back foot, and honestly, like, his woodline isn't looking too great. Villagers, like, I read the last patch notes that villagers aren't bumping into each other, so I'm a bit surprised by that. And, well, let's see what he's going. He's floating a lot of food and a lot of gold.
Yeah, I think he'll go for quite a few eco upgrades here, and then at a range. BacT all over Viper in terms of scouting, so he knows what Viper's up to on the left side. He knows Viper's on golds. He's probably looking to see, is it an archer range? Viper has not even made the building yet. Am I missing something here? He just doesn't have the res for the building yet.
Yeah, I'm sometimes looking at the minimap as well. Sneaky archer range would be really nice play, but... yeah, it's just rushing it out now. Yeah, that's what I said.
It's gotta be so confusing if you're BacT, because you would normally see the range much faster.
Well, he now sees it, so yeah. It is all good. And he spotted 4 villages on gold, right? So there won't be any crazy surprises.
Yep. What you would think. Viper now transferring to wood. So he was on gold, now he's going to wood. Like he wants a second lumber camp there. Both players were housed at 30 pot. Viper just got badly housed. BacT got badly housed. Not the prettiest series I've ever seen. And at home, which we haven't talked a lot about, BacT is just making trash units himself. Byzantines have the cheap trash units and skirmishers and spearmen. Lithuanians have the fast trash units. So one's more expensive, but one's also faster to run away from the fights.
Oh, and Viper now in the weird spot that he has resources that are close to Castle Age. But his economy actually isn't that great. Look at that. He just had like 550 food, 260 gold, but only 8 on food.
It's just, it doesn't seem all that clean from Viper right now. And props to BacT for having some confidence, despite maybe being confused, to send a few units forward here. I also love the Spearman with the skirms, because then Viper can never use that scout in this scenario. And he also will see that Viper has some trash units. But he's well aware of what Viper will be going for.
Viper queues up more skirmishers. Blacksmith still missing. 17 villages on wood, but still somehow no real wood in the bank.
Yeah. As I look at the map as well, if BacT gets a full wall to the right side, his map is gorgeous. Back wood lines, back golds. But kind of unlike him, he's not going for the heavy walls just yet. But he's also keeping Viper at home.
Yeah, for now he knows that no counterattack is an option, right? He has the faster units as well, with the Lithuanian walking bonus. He saw the archer range there, knows that some army is still at home, so going for the slow walls is fine in this case.
Okay, BacT will lose his... Oh, never mind.
Doesn't.
Close to losing the scout, yeah. Viper will want to use his skirms against the spearman, because that starting scout still could have a lot to say for Viper. That's 44 HP versus 1. And... Or not! What?
Okay.
He went to click fletching, and the scout just went down. That's massive in a skirm war.
Okay, actually lots of army now from Viper. He is going for the counterattack, but that will run into walls, so that shouldn't really do too much. It's so weird how long Viper fought without fletching here.
Yeah, now this was 0-0 for a while with the KD, and now we're looking at 5-2 for BacT. And remember, these militia were supposed to be written off a long time ago. So that scout was supposed to be written off a long time ago. I mean, just messy play that you wouldn't expect from a player like Viper. And I'd say he's massively behind economically now. 22 on food for BacT. If BacT could trade evenly and then go up towards Castle Age. Oh, but Viper's through with trash units just passing.
Oh, that should have never happened. And, well, that can be annoying now. Obviously, you can deal with that quite easily. Just send 5 skirms there. Maybe fight off a bit with villagers. You shouldn't really lose a single unit there.
Yeah, he shouldn't, but it does delay the eco a bit. And I think BacT will have to send some units back into his base to deal with this. Also, the reason he had so much on food was because he had like 8 on berries. The berries are now gone. BacT's got to deal with that. And I think that's a little bit of breathing room for Viper. And it might also make BacT make a poor decision on the front. BacT has less units now, but he realizes that and flees.
You just said 5-2 KD for BacT after he took the good first engagement. Now it's 11-9. BacT actually going for the stable behind this, but Viper actually always having in, well, some spearmen I want to say, but actually it's down to 2, so those guys might come in handy if he wanted to send them in the center.
No. BacT, don't show your scouts at home.
Yeah.
Use the skirms at home. Send the scouts forward.
Yeah.
You should never give Viper the time to react to this. Oh, and he's going to do that as well. I mean, I think that's a poor move. Viper will now know what's coming. In the end, Viper's not completely walled, but still, I don't think this was necessary at all.
Yeah, it is the ungreedy play, right? You just get a way better fight at your home base, but I was with you there. It just felt like, okay, you get 3 scouts out, your opponent has 0 spears on the map, you can take some beautiful fights. Now Viper probably plays it a bit more defensively.
Yep, now Viper knows, oh, I need to make spearmen, whereas before I think he could have been surprised. Viper makes walls when he would have otherwise felt like the skirmishers in defense would have been fine. Still, very even game, and very even with the amount they have on each resource, too. That's pretty crazy. We'll see the Castle Age click for both soon. Viper's not completely walled yet.
Both players with all eco upgrades. Viper 2 villages ahead there. And now there will be some dancing. BacT will actually lose those 4 units quite easily. Quick gate maybe, Viper?
No, just placing the palisade walls and letting the units run in. It's a bit dicey for the scouts for BacT because now he doesn't have any units to snipe the spearmen that are on the front. But we'll see if BacT can sneak in here. As Viper is now on the way to Castle Age 2. This is the closest game in the series, Nilly.
Yeah.
And beautiful quick walls from Viper.
Yeah, it is absolutely even here. Sees the double stable, so Viper wants to go for what I believe should be camels then. Probably expecting Lithuanians to go knights, to go for some monks, trying to get the relics. We didn't talk about the distribution. Feels like 1 at the left-hand side for Viper. The other 4 relatively in the center.
Yeah, if you get map control with Lithuanians here, you can definitely snag those relics. But do you want to be going into knights against Byzantines who could go for the cheap pikemen, who can go for the camels? The camel knight seems like a great decision for Viper, and also Viper has not built a tower, so Viper could also get the second TC up a bit faster. And BacT, who's built a tower that wasn't needed, if you ask me. I guess he didn't scout that wood line in time, but I'm surprised to see a player of BacT's caliber hasn't just walled that.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised as well. Like, the tower, I think the tower makes sense if you don't go for the stable, but going for both felt unnecessary.
Yeah. These are the small things that can make a difference in a series. Viper sending the trash units forward. And I think BacT will be going for knights. And also skirmishers. He's still got some skirmishers out in the field.
But this is a really strong composition, right? Elite skirm, knights. If you get 1-2 relics, then it won't be that easy for Viper to stop it.
I think since Byzantine camels are so cheap, you could just go chain barding camels against that, right?
Yeah.
But
well,
you're definitely correct in that knight skirm normally is the way to go. And how many times is Viper just going to pass here? BacT, you've all the time in the world to wall. You're known as that type of a player. Why is this a thing? seems so avoidable, Nilly.
The thing is, it's only 3 spearmen, right? The moment Viper gets 4 knights, he can easily clear this one up. And BacT trying to rush out a TC. Lacking some upgrades, though. Look at that.
Yeah, what's weird to me is I don't think Viper really wants this army anymore. So he just wants to get some value out of it. He sniped a Vil and idled a bunch more. And he's going to take map control behind this. I think Viper will love the fact that he's currently in the back of BacT's base. With Micro from BacT, and that's just avoidable damage. As I've been saying all day, we've had some messy mistakes from high caliber players today.
Well, obviously the map invites to really showcase every single walling mistake, every single step there, and it is just a very tough game to play. Plus, your opponents are so good at punishing the smallest mistakes that you make.
It's a good thing that there's constantly small little things that we can critique, because if players were able to have the maps where they could consistently play clean, as we see another hole between buildings, then it wouldn't be Arabia. Like, Arabia should be about aggression, should be about craziness.
Yeah.
See a conversion here, and Viper takes a pretty good fight on the hill.
If they didn't do mistakes, we would basically be unemployed.
I mean, maybe. That's true. I mean, where would Low E the Legends be without mistakes, right?
Right. What would we do on a typical Tuesday night?
Do me a favor. Next time one of your teammates on Team GL makes a mistake and you're casting it, thank them afterwards. Like, right after the series, if they lose, be like, hey, thanks.
Okay.
You're keeping me employed. See how that goes.
Nice. Oh, Tedo, thanks for making it a 5-game set.
What are your thoughts on Viper's early Castle Age here? He took 2 fights, one with a Feudal Age army, one with a Castle Age army. What has that done for him?
What it did with the army in the back also forced BacT to not counterattack, right? Viper was a bit later, so he knew exactly where BacT's army was, and then it's so much easier to get all the control, and Viper's just doing a beautiful job of getting the rally control already against Lithuanians.
Yep, 1 relic, has the camels, has the eco as well. He's on about to be 3 TCs. Really tough to know what to do against Byzantines. Yes, pikemen could be included at some point, but I'm not sure if BacT has the eco for that right now. And Byzantines could just match it with their own pikemen, which is cheaper. Good fight for Viper here. He'll take the knight and probably run away. And that he does. I'm liking everything I'm seeing from Viper right now, and BacT is about 7 Vils behind, only 2 TCs, and I think the most important thing right now is that Viper's keeping him from getting the relics.
General rule of thumb, the cheaper the unit, the more it benefits from blacksmith upgrades. And look at that, Byzantines, basically every unit you build is cheap, and he has 6 blacksmith upgrades that early on in the game.
Yep. That and or eco upgrades, and in this case, Viper has it all. He's got the wood and the farm upgrade, and he's got the units with blacksmith upgrade. So, saving the resources to put the resources into something else. Viper confident enough to push forward now, and why not? Here he comes. BacT, I think, feels the need to counter, but as he's pushing out for the first time, he's now thinking, uh-oh, I don't know if I can leave my base.
Viper is playing it like full rally control as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Atonement in this spot.
I was thinking the same. Maybe convert the other monks. Pikeman comes in for BacT, but Viper can probably take this fight because there's only a few, and the monks have gone down, and Viper has so many upgrades. Wow.
Oh, and he is just smashing this fight. BacT jumps onto the last monk there, but look at that. How much yellow is left over at this fight? 2k army battle against 300.
And there's still a hole there. The same hole from earlier. And so you're behind in eco, you're behind in momentum, and then you don't even have walls to protect you. This is a disaster for BacT, who, remember, started off the day with a win against Viper. Viper's playing very clean. I don't think there's any question that he's confident now. And probably was even confident after losing the first game, for being honest.
Look at those confident villagers moving forward as well.
He's like, what would doubt do? WWDD. What would doubt do? Oh my god. Is he gonna... How ballsy is this gonna be? Oh! That's extremely aggressive. But BacT has to clear up the army, so he can't really send units to stop the castle.
Oh, and he's in the wood line. Look at that. The house is only blocked in one direction. Monks there with the defense pikemen as well. BacT will clear it up, but the castle goes up in a brutal spot.
Yeah, Viper did the right thing. He actually went against what Doubt would do, and he sent a proper amount of villagers for a forward castle. And then could mine that stone and make many more castles. Also, I could imagine it'd be pretty demoralizing for BacT if this game continues and there's 6 Byzantine castles on his face. He loses and then has to regroup mentally to go into the next game. So,
didn't he have a game in the round of 64 where we had like 4 Frank castles surrounding his opponent?
Yeah, I mean, that was a bit different because it was against Seed 64. So it's expected that someone like Viper could do that. But against Seed, what is BacT, 16 or 17? A bit more risky.
I think BacT won his, right? Now. Wasn't he a bit higher? Let me quickly. I have it listed here.
I think he was 16 or 17. No, Capwatch was 16, I think.
BacT was 17.
BacT was 17. Yeah, okay. So, but yeah, at this point, BacT is. You know, if he ever wants to go imp, it's 1,000 food and it's 800 gold for him. And Viper has truly made use of all the Byzantine bonuses: cheap trash, cheap camels, getting the blacksmith upgrades because he saves his resources. A higher HP castle, now cataphracts, cheaper imp. This is how to play Byzantines competitively.
Yeah, absolutely lovely here. And the question is, do you maybe even tech switch from this, or is it just a? It feels like a Harbinger push feels natural.
Yeah, I just wonder if he needs to do much more. Like, yes, a held tech switch would probably be
not another
needed
castle.
in most situations,
No,
but do you need to do anything more? Yeah, you send a message. That's,
That's a message indeed. I know what Onlu is screaming at the moment.
It's like, get out of my game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is... Will the castle go up? Viper?
I'm not even sure. Look at that. He sends the low HP villagers back as well. Tries to go for some micro. It was not a clever castle, but he's just too far ahead.
I don't think it's going to matter much. He's like, let's get Bodkin so we can shoot that TC down. And then once the TC's down, we can finish the castle. And normally, Nilly, you're spot on. I think we'd see Barracks and Halb switch to just...
Look at the resources. That's elite cataphracts. He wanted to go... Oh, he wants to go for elite cataphracts.
And it doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter at all. Viper wins the game. And, you know, it started off with the Drush. Viper spotted it after BacT took that risk, and Viper defended. But it was pretty even in Feudal Age. Where do you think things went wrong for BacT?
Not walling. And those small armies getting in there twice. You were absolutely spot on there. And BacT, he had the spots to just do the small walls. Then we had the holds at the front. The army passed next to the TC, something that should never happen. And we said he had a beautiful map, which I absolutely believe as well, but didn't really use it if Viper still does so much damage.
BacT is the type of player who would have 3 forward golds on a hill and he would still somehow full wall that. Like, he's the type of player who finds a way to wall and play secure. So it's really weird to me to see, like, even now, how his base is open, or a hole between an archery range and a house, and one army runs in. He doesn't even plug that gap as the next army runs in. So, I mean, Viper played that near flawlessly with the eco and the camels and the upgrades, but BacT didn't do himself any favors. I think BacT would have had a much faster Castle Age time if that Feudal Age army never waltzed into his base, and overall, Viper's trash units would have been pretty much useless. So, it's those small little things. Player Viper's caliber is going to snowball those small things into big things, and BacT, who's a waller, should do better there. But BacT still has an opportunity. If he wins the next game, we go to a game 5, just like we did in the first best of 5 today. I'll bring up the Civ draft, Nilly, and we'll speculate a bit before the game begins. I'm sure it will be starting soon.
Yeah, I'm thinking Tatars, honestly. Just feels so natural now. After he won with Portuguese, he feels so confident in this one.
Well, okay, just to clarify what Nilly means by feels so natural. It's not natural for most pros to then go for Tatars when you're up 2-1. But seeing as Viper has won with Portuguese, and then picked Tatars first, which many people are memeing about right now, yes, then maybe for Viper it is the natural choice to get a win with the other civilization, which people were questioning.
Yeah. I have a gut
I don't
feeling
know.
that it might be it, and well, I think BacT might not even get to play his mains here. Frank's Khmer feel a bit better with all the mobility. I think I would even pick Khmer in his shoes.
I'd say, yeah, I think Khmer's probably my go-to as well. Pick Khmer. If you win, you've got Frank's Mines for game 5. Not too bad. Can be a bit rough against the civs that Viper will have remaining, but yeah, just take it one game at a time. If you're backed, you've got 3 solid civs. Not like Viper civs straight up counter him in every way. I still feel like Franks can beat Chinese if that time comes. The Chinese probably have the slight edge. Same with Malians.
Chinese feel really strong over Franks, honestly.
Well, I think it depends on if you can get walls up, right? Like 19 or 20 pop scouts against an unwalled Chinese could maybe mean that Chinese fall behind in feudal age, but yeah, Chinese are sick.
Economy is just crazy good for them. And yeah, Tristan, we have our answers. Spec delay down to 45 seconds. And we see BacT going for Franks. So expecting a lot of early scouts there and a lot of aggression. You said Pop 19. A very good
Let me
option.
guess, Viper's on Tatars because I'm about to hop in myself.
Indeed, he is.
Oh man, like on one hand, I'm really interested to see what Viper does here. On the other hand, I would feel a little bit bad for BacT if you were to lose against Portuguese Tatars. I mean, I don't know how you look at this from like how do you look at this mentally? Technically, if you feel like Tatars and Portuguese are bad, Viper's giving you more of a chance. We'll see. I'm excited to talk about this because we have not seen this matchup yet in King of the Desert 3 Nilly. Viper here in the yellow and BacT in the blue. Give me your thoughts.
So, Tatars. Obviously, a civilization that gets 150 food out of a goat instead of 100, 225 food out of a cow in this case, so 50% more there. And for a very long time considered to be the worst civilization. Age of Empires probably together with Goth for a very long time, together with Turks. And they got thumping, and suddenly everyone started to love them, especially of the micro nerds. So Hera, Leary, MBL, Viper, all kind of started to love them a bit more. But arguably their biggest bonus, and Viper could be really good with abusing that, is that you do 50% extra damage, or 25% extra damage from elevation. So your opponent is impossible to take any efficient fights while you're on the hill.
And in King of the Desert, Arabia, what's it made of? Hills. Hill. There's hills everywhere. The Viper being, from a nerdy background, he might do just that. Nilly, I think you're right. And that could be with raids. I'm looking at a lot of these golds. There's a hill next to every single gold that BacT could take. I think this was actually one of the things that Viper had brought up prior to King of the Desert is these hills can change games, and I think he's going to try and abuse that right here. But with Franks, there's so much going well for Franks right now. You've got the forage bonus, so that helps in Dark Age. You've got the farm bonus, helps in Feudal, and then also in Castle Age. You've got the extra HP on Scouts in early Feudal. You've got that also contributes to Knights, so you don't need to research Bloodlines. I mean, there's not a lot that Franks do poorly in the early game. So I think Viper's going to have to take full map control, similar to how he used Portuguese earlier today, another civ that we questioned.
Yeah, I don't really have a good idea of how you open that. I think most of the time it is a transition into probably Crossbowman, but what do you do before that? Is it just a Scout War? That's not really an option.
I think you do, yeah. I would say that you play this similar to Huns. So you go Scouts, you go into, you consider getting Bloodlines on the Scouts, which would then give you more HP than the Frank Scouts. Maybe make a few more than they would. Make a switch into Archers, go Crossbow, take advantage of free Thumb Ring, and then go into Cav Archers. That's probably what I would do. I'm not saying that necessarily our favorite doing it against Franks, because everything's so streamlined and neat and tidy, but I think with 3 on wood, Viper's definitely thinking about it. Could also be 2 on wood if BacT wants to snipe that Vil. But that didn't happen.
Yeah. Viper not scouting 2 of his goats at the top there. Quite interesting that he is lacking those. Not even sending his scout. Probably feels like not unlikely that BacT did lame him. Having a solid advantage in the score means BacT went for the early scouting.
Tatars get camel as well, correct?
Yes, they do. And even heavy camel.
Yeah, with full upgrades. And flaming camels, which probably will not be seen, but I love it. Well, then again, it's Viper with Tatars, so you never know. But yeah, I think having camels as an option almost makes Tatars slightly better than Huns against Franks in many ways. I mean, still Huns are so fluid, so clean to play, but yeah, I'm personally expecting some scouts here, and then maybe Viper will be more passive at the start and hope for mid, late feudal for some opportunities to hit back.
Will be like I see Franks just so much better here, and I'm even clueless how to properly open. Like 3 on wood, now he sends another one. Is playing pop 21. Is it maybe just a man-at-arm opening? Now sending a villager onto gold.
What? If it's a man-at-arm opening, it's not a proper man-at-arm opening, right? Because his barracks should be on the way.
Yeah, he builds it in front of the gold. Next villager goes onto gold then as well. And it will just be pop 21 man-at-arm into archer. Very,
well, you know, you've got more food with Tatars. Right, so I think typically 21's a little bit tough. I think we had, was it Hera and Vinchester doing 20 pop at one point? So they've figured out some different builds, but there's Viper on the golds. BacT is actually back at his base right now, pushing in his hunt, so he's getting as much food as possible. BacT's golds could be easily abused. Like these golds are awful for him. Forward golds, he's got to have map control every age.
It's such a weird choice for BacT to push deer. Like I'm completely clueless how Tatars should play or what they want to do.
Yeah.
I want my scout at the other side.
Well, he's assuming that it's going to be scouts. Just like, you know, a certain caster here today has done so. I think, fortunately for him, he's going to see it. So it won't be surprised by it. But I think he was just assuming scouts. And he knows Franks are so good if they get the food.
Okay, confirms the man-at-arms now. Has to be happy with that intel. 2 villagers at the front. Will just be the standard pop 19 scout opening. Can he squeeze the stable between the woodline and the barracks? Oh, that's so much potential for a hole again. Oh, Viper trying to block
Viper knows it. Yeah, Viper knows about that. Now, Viper's scout is going to lose HP here. And BacT should realize what's about to happen here and block the man-at-arms from coming in. Yep, so he'll do that. And BacT, if he walls the right side, I'm liking his situation a lot. At least when it comes to the start here with the farms, which he'll need for the many scouts he's going to produce.
Why is BacT going for spearmen? Even 2 spearmen. He knows it's men-at-arms against him.
I think some players still do this nowadays just to get some units out there to attack militia. Maybe he was thinking it was a drush. I don't know. But yeah, 2 spearmen's a little weird. And now suddenly BacT is going to wall the left side. Something that Viper should be able to block. I think this might be something BacT would do, whereas a lot of other pros would just choose not to wall it and then click wall their woodlines and berries back behind this.
And
I don't like this walling from BacT.
It wasn't even close. He took 3 villagers, loses the villager now, or tries to escape the other side. But yeah, Viper won't allow him.
She should die. Yeah, that's really... I think he's panicking a little bit right now. And most pros would just wall and wait on the hill and fight it off. BacT tosses away a Vil, and this is Viper gaining an early lead again. But also how BacT likes to play. He loves his early walls. Except for the previous game.
The early walls, just if the scout didn't push deer, you see the man-at-arm opening, you can wall so much earlier. I'm a bit shocked. Oh, no, villagers being pulled. Not the worst fight.
Yeah, Viper does have a hill, but his scout's down now. And this is great move from BacT to fight with the villagers. In fact, I'd even pull the scout away. Okay, he ends up clearing everything. And not the end of the world at all, but Viper is going to need to have something behind this. And Viper right now just has a few defensive spears.
Okay, now goes with the archer range and 3 villagers.
What do you think of the range timing for BacT?
I think the range placement is worse than the range timing. And I'm not even sure why he's rushing it out with 3 villagers here as well.
Yeah, it's like he's expecting archers and spears as a follow-up, but I think this is, again, a preference thing, but I think what you want to do with Franks is make sure that your farming eco is solid. And that's 3 farms right there that he's delaying because that archery range is added now. I would have opted to make the farms, add the range at about the 14, maybe 15-minute mark because you're going to be walled anyways.
Yeah.
So I think BacT may be a bit shaky right now and not playing towards the strong eco of the Franks.
It's not really like he could produce those skirmishes instantly, right? It took some time, needed to finish the farms first to have the smooth economy.
Well, he's got to choose between scouts and skirms. That's the problem. Ideally, you want to be able to create vills, scouts, and skirms when you time that range.
Ooh, BacT now jumping, won't find the kill.
But, you know, after it's all said and done, not the end of the world. BacT, he's not one to have holes in walls. He will find that at the south and still sees that part of Viper's base is open. Rather surprised to see that Viper, you know, only making archers and spears right now, all countered by the skirms. He's not done a lot to secure his base on the left side or even on the front.
I'm a bit surprised as well. Plays it very open here. And it's just archers, some spearmen, and BacT not really willing to commit. Maybe could have made an argument, like 3 Frank scouts trying to trade off against 1 spearman, being a bit more annoying at the berries, but didn't go for it.
So, do you think Viper adds a stable here? Because BacT only has 3 scouts, and Viper will know that it's going to be a skirm switch. I feel like Viper adding a stable would feel, as you would say, very natural in this position.
I wouldn't mind that. It just feels like he plays so ballsy again. I think he will play Fast Castle. Scouts is the right choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, but is it the right choice for Viper? Is it the choice he's going to do here? That's a good point. Like, maybe he wants to test how these things can do against skirms if they have the hill. He does have the hill bonus if he's fighting on his gold. And he is now going to wall towards his TC on the other side.
Oh. Look at that, he's moving away though. Gold completely exposed. Now builds the tower way too late. No fletching for him either. He's getting punished here.
Why is he playing? He's playing so unbelievably greedy right now with that type of a gold. Down a villager and could lose his archers as well as BacT will save the scouts. Viper is in big trouble because of this greed. Just now getting fletching nearly. He didn't even have the fletching upgrade.
Yeah, and that hurts him. Because he didn't want to go for it, right? And now he's at 50 gold.
Yeah, he can't go up.
Even queues up some more skirmishers. Oh, his castle edge timing will be a solid 1.5 minutes later than he wanted to.
And look at the archer numbers going down. Viper will not be happy with that one, but the tower will go up. In the end, I think BacT does need to leave this area. BacT fighting underneath the tower with 3 scouts. I think he really needs to keep the scouts alive. Also, I think Viper's going to need a market. He wants to go up. And nothing yet. Maybe he'll just hang on to whatever gold he has. Hope to click up. Overall, though, I guess it could have been much worse for Viper. Well, it's about to be. Just rip these bills.
What's happening there? There, aggro. Okay.
Dad, when I grow up, I want to be a warrior. Sorry, son. I told you should have been a peasant like the rest of us. Man, that was really weird. You know what else is weird? Oh, Viper's actually going to get some decent damage in here. He goes to the gold, and BacT has walled to the gold, and BacT has not reacted yet. So if BacT's not careful, he could take some big losses here.
He can't really do too much, right? Left-hand side, there are skirmishes again. Archers were low from that one before. I think 3-4 skirms can maybe even scare Viper away here.
I don't know how... like how technical you are on remembering these times, but when someone is going scouts into just knights with Franks, what's the traditional, like the normal uptime? Would you say like
I would say 20, 30.
20? Okay.
20, 30 if you build like 4 scouts, I would say.
All right, so if you make 4 scouts, I think he made 3. And then if you add in skirms, maybe it's a bit later than that, but should it be at 23 minutes?
No.
Seems pretty late for BacT.
That's way too high for my standards as well, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't do any blacksmith upgrades, no wheelbarrow that could justify it. Gold upgrade only now coming in. It looked rocky, but BacT also walled with 5 villagers at a time.
Yeah, true. Nearly.
He sold all his stone.
Is taking the gold on the right.
BacT
This
sold
is-
all his stone.
To go up? Man, his eco was all out of whack then. He's no stone. What in the world? I've been scratching my head a lot throughout the series. I think it's the pressure, you know, and how open the maps can be, and BacT definitely preferring to be safe and walled. Immediately after
pause.
Viper hits Castle Age, we have a pause.
I have an idea what that is. What do you think? Why is he pausing?
Is Viper checking to see how much Step Lancers cost?
I think he puts the hotkey for Step Lancers.
You'd think he didn't have the hotkey for Step Lancer. No, Viper makes Step Lancers. He would have a. He would have a Step
Why would he
Lancer
pause
hotkey.
instantly after reaching Castle Age?
Well, it might have been BacT. I don't know.
Yeah, what is BacT doing? I think it was Viper.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, there's definitely something there because there's immediate pause after Castle Age, and now we have Step Lancers on the way. So maybe something about the Step Lancers.
Mm-hmm.
Viper is he's in a great position to clear out those skirms. Does Viper know about the gold on the right side? He does. But I don't think he would assume that BacT would have shifted over there because there's really no reason for BacT to leave his walls now that those archers are out of the picture. BacT wall. Don't let these Step Lancers run in here. Wall.
It's so open.
Wall.
It's so open.
Wall.
Step Lancers are so good at killing villagers. Oh.
I don't
Yeah,
understand it,
no,
really.
not wall like this. That's not
I
how
don't
we wall
understand.
against Step Lancers. They have a range.
It's just the second straight game where I'm thinking, why is BacT of all players not walling his base? You know, like the Step Lancers, they're not that good against Knights. But if you get to the hill with them, you get inside the enemy eco, they're fantastic. You know Viper is just going to boom behind here. You know that he's going to take all the map control. So typical of him. He gets control to hold it. It's just BacT's not doing himself any favors here.
Suddenly the damage output is not 9, it's 13.5, and then it becomes weird on the hill there, and villagers now dying, and Viper loves to micro those units.
Yeah, that was well played, but and I think it's avoidable to get in there in the first place. You see a monastery for Viper at home. He's now going to add in camels. I think that if we were to discuss meta and when units are viable competitively, Step Lancers, their window is past. You know, like early Castle Age, they're very good. Then it's normally Knights and Camels, and Viper's probably the best in the business at using these at that time.
Camels now moving
Again,
in.
Camels run in. Step Lancers on the left. BacT seems so defensive and so worried about his future here.
Uh-oh. And look at that wood line. Completely exposed. And now 5 Step Lancers are enough to one-hit a villager.
Yep.
Look at that. Oh, God.
I'm looking. We'll see it. I
Look.
think. Maybe. Quick walls. Impressive.
Okay.
I mean, that's impressive quick walling, but look at all the villagers that are walling, right?
Oh,
Like-
but it's still a hole. Oh, not that impressive anymore.
Oh, man. Villagers idle. Villagers will die. Viper doesn't care about these Step Lancers. He's going to get as much value as possible. And he's going to make a switch. Oh, look at the villagers. Poke you to death.
Oh.
I'll poke you to death. I'll poke you to death. I'll poke you to death. Oh, they're all dying.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's dead. Oh,
The
that was
last low
brutal.
HP one. And Viper's now 9 villages ahead. Before that raid, he was 2 villages ahead. Meanwhile, back at the goal again. We'll find some more kills against the skirmishers.
Yep.
And yeah, Viper now drops a TC. Not the cleanest game by him, but look at that. Already collecting relics as well.
Yep. It's just knows how to use the mobility, and you give the guy map control, he's going to boom behind. He's going to take full map. He's going to do everything that you need to do. Where we've seen Viper struggle recently has been if he doesn't get that control. And that also has just been the general theme of King of the Desert and any open map. So,
Yeah, like the Viper struggles the most with like super early aggression, and that's why Vivi was so dominant, or not dominant against him, but really performed well against Viper for so many months, especially the late Woobly days, and
Yeah.
Empire Wars, right? But
and Empire Wars, correct.
once you get to that castle age, everyone is set up. Viper has a hill, or a castle on the hill that he cherry picked. Then it's really rough.
Yeah, Viper. We'll see if he makes a switch into another unit at all. It just seems like now he's so far ahead, he's going to try and extend his boom even further with a 4th TC, which is a lot. Camels and monks could certainly defend. BacT has yet to even be at Viper's base in Castle Age. No
Score
bueno.
is surprisingly equal. Look at that, 14 villager lead. Military
Is that because
relatively
BacT has
even.
800 food in the bank? Does that add to his score enough to
It
make sense of that?
gives you 80 points.
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure myself. Maybe the scouting, but here comes a counterattack. Viper doesn't have anything here, but he does react. Loses one, and could lose more. Of course, could also counterattack and hit BacT. BacT does not have a TC on that gold. Yeah, I think BacT is gonna... There's really nowhere for him to hit beyond that. There's always a TC at Viper's base, anywhere he looks.
Viper looks fine. Even gets conversion now against the villager. House is broken and he's in the gold. Unless BacT gets two beautiful conversion, that's going to be a massive raid. But oh, more knights are coming in.
All right, so more knights coming in. Again, it feels like BacT will hold this, but what does that really do for him when he's already behind so heavily? He's 25 vills behind right now. Viper's villager even getting some damage in there. Oh, is she gonna get a kill? No, okay. And Viper also slaps away those knights that were at his base. I'd like to see more camels from Viper. The only way he loses this is if he doesn't make more camels and monks here.
Oh, let's take a look. Knights are now moving back, and the game kind of stabilizes. But if you're 26 villagers behind, a stabilized game isn't really what you're looking for.
Yep.
Somehow we need to see an all-in from BacT ASAP.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Pikeman Knight. That could still work, but Viper's probably going to have a defensive castle, which then would defend from that type of a push. I would love to see Keshik from Viper.
Oh,
I'd
and
love
he
that
is
unit.
building it. Yeah. This is such a memey series, honestly. It feels like a ladder grind from him.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like a ladder game from Viper. I'd agree with you on that. But I think it also seems like BacT is a bit nervous because I'd say game one he played standard. It was shaky from both, but it was well played from BacT and greedy from Viper. And then there's actually been many little mistakes here or there you wouldn't expect from Viper, and many things from BacT, in particular the walling, where you would expect him to be better at. And I think that could be, like, BacT has always been a player who... Oh, don't tell me Viper's going to get 3 conversions.
Oh, it looks like it. Give me one. What? Misclick there, surely. Gets 2.
Yeah. All right, well, those were his camels in the first place, so it's only fair.
Only fair. Oh, Knight's getting a good raid in there. Castle denied for
What?
now. 5 villagers will die at least.
Viper! Nilly and I are casting this like this game is about to end, and Viper's like, no. I want to give you a little bit more to talk about.
Well, not really, right? It's like,
Yeah,
oh no! Viper's only 30 villages ahead after this raid. Tristan, can he make the
so
comeback
much worse
happen?
than 40, yeah.
Score's
true,
getting
very
really
true.
close now.
Yeah, it's so many TCs, castles now, camels. I think Keshiks are an amazing unit to mix in with camels in this situation, though. Because they have higher base attack. You also get a little bit of gold when you attack with them, which doesn't matter all that much long term, but it is something. They're also pretty cheap as far as I know, so I like the Keshik unit here. But yeah, back to what I was saying, I think that BacT has kind of struggled to put his rated game form into tournaments, and of course it is the Viper, so 3-1 is something that he probably would have been happy with if you would have asked him at the start of the game, but Nilly, Viper's got idols everywhere. Where's his military?
Well, he is making the Keshik switch, right? Now goes for the
true.
university. Not even sure what that's all about. What's the first take he does in the university?
Murder holes.
Okay.
It's the only thing that makes sense. Or ballistics for his TCs.
Maybe ballistics, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
It's
knights.
90 builds versus 53.
But also a lot of camels, the monks for the defense. Viper, he will face an all-in any second now. 40 villages there, 10 military behind. As you can see, army value is actually heavily in favor of BacT, but he only has one single push on himself.
Yep. Yeah, if this push doesn't take out a TC and the castle, I don't think he has a chance. And even then, it could be tough for him. Viper sitting with 4 relics in that monastery. Viper choosing to send Keshiks and a knight around to the right side.
Okay,
I mean,
shift
he
clicking
probably
there.
has confidence in his camels, but normally you just maintain that eco lead. Maybe he wants to raid with those. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
he did shift click around. I think he did cancel it though. Let's take a look. Now the attack is coming, but taking the fight uphill is not an option against Tatars.
Yeah, and Viper also will get 2 conversions. Losing a few villagers on the right, that's not going to matter. I think he might even loop around with the Keshiks, who've yet to really fight. Iron casting for Viper, and I think BacT realizes that the end is near. The all-in doesn't work, especially if his units bug out on the patrol. He's not going to win the game, and Viper, as he raids, will get gold with the amazing Keshik unit. And that's going to be the end for BacT, for sure.
Yeah, that's all she wrote. BacT, he will have to face the loser of the Max and Dogao, the set that is coming up right after this next week.
Sure. Well, Nili, what was your expectation for this series as far as the scoreline goes before we went into this?
I predicted a 3-0.
Yeah. So BacT loses 3 games but wins 1. And while Viper played greedy in game 1, it's not like Mongols aren't a strong pick. So BacT gets a win, and certainly maybe against expectations does that. So I think that he definitely has a shot to beat the loser of Max Dogao, whenever that happens and whoever that may be. And I hope to see more from him in the future. Viper, as we say a lot in tournaments, we haven't seen his best yet. It's still the group stage, but he got the result that he set out to get today.
Yeah, and he was not really tested today, which is
I don't think so either.
tough to say, because BacT, that might have been the top 20 performance in the world, but it looked a bit on another level.
I agree. Yeah, that and some of the civilization picks, which should put Viper at a slight disadvantage. I don't know. I think BacT played quite well game 1 and 2, like as I would have expected from him. And then I think game 3, 4, he just at that point lost it mentally. Like the lack of walling, allowing Viper through with units that should never have been through when BacT is such a good defensive player was suspect for me. But yeah, we've got to shift on past that, Nili. And like you said, we've got 2 more best of 5s today. I'm going to shoot you a message on Discord, but I think that's the end for us today casting together. It was fun.
It was lovely. And yeah, I wish you all the best with your
You
mini
too, man.
cast.
Yep, we'll talk soon. Like I said, I'll shoot you a message during the break here.
Okay.
All right, see ya. Okay, guys. Great games. Viper ends up getting...
Okay, so T9 and I committed for the first 2 sets, and so that was it from us. That looked like weird games. I don't really know what to think about all this.